Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk on this Monday. We begin a new week here. Hopefully, a lot of you snow fans have recovered from the system from last week and all the headaches that brought. It was good and bad when it came to Louisville, of course. For a lot of you to the south, though, you got quite the wallop of snow out there. Here's our stats. 8.2 for Louisville now for the season. We are above normal by nearly 3 inches, in fact, and last year we had a schedule even from that event. Although last year was really just 2 big snowstorms that accounted for a lot of our snow total. It was Valentine's weekend and the first weekend of March that really gave the higher totals for the entire season for last season. Now the board today, pretty minor event here we'll talk about as we head into Thursday, and then Groundhog Day. That is a system that is worth watching, and not necessarily for maybe snow, but it does seem to be a system that needs to be watched. I'll just leave it at that. We'll get into that in a second. First off, first on our alerts here, no alerts to talk about today. Here's the snowpack. Again, it's not entirely correct for the Louisville area, so ignore that part of the map here. But it is correct for southern Kentucky and, of course, for the nation's capital and to the east. But more than half of the country has snow on the ground on this Monday. Today, we got another system moving in. This is a weaker low pressure. It's going to try its best to scoop up some moisture with it. We still have quite a bit of a dew point spread that's taking place. Very dry air, so a lot of this rain that is showing up, it'll eventually reach the ground for those of you in Indiana first, but it's going to be very light, sprinkles if anything. It's going to take a while. And look at our numbers, though. 48 degrees right now in Louisville with that south wind at 18 miles per hour. Again, see a few of those raindrops around Jasper through Bedford. Won't be surprised if a few of those do reach the ground later on. Here's Futurecast. I think majority of the rain for a lot of us that will reach the ground will be later tonight, closer to midnight. Should be out of here by the time we head into toward the morning rush. We chill down. The models are trying to hit. There could be some moisture around for maybe a flurry or two, but I got to tell you, the atmosphere is very dry behind this, and not even sure if we're really going to put it in the forecast. The flurry chance does not look that impressive. Even for Wednesday, mainly cloudy. We'll have some sunshine mixed in, but still chilly as we stay mainly into the 30s in time. Here's GFS for a chance for flurries for tomorrow. Again, the moisture lags a little bit, but it's aiming for tomorrow itself for maybe a few flakes flying in the air. But then we head into Thursday, and there's another reinforcing shot, another backdoor front, if you will. It's going to move in on Thursday. That's going to try to squeeze out some snow showers and squalls from the Great Lakes. Biggest threat for that is going to be Ohio, Indiana, into Pennsylvania, and, of course, some uplift here from the mountains in East Kentucky and West Virginia. There is a chance that some of our eastern counties, mainly East Louisville, may see a brief snow shower flurry. This will be for the 28th. That's why it's on the snowboard, and that's why it's not that big of a deal. But if you're heading east, there could be some snow showers and snow squalls. And it will keep us on the chilly side, even on Thursday. Here is the GFS showing that scenario. Then as we head into the weekend, we'll say that overall for the weekend, there's going to be a modest warming into the 50s. Not a whole lot of rain to talk about. However, as we head into Groundhog Day, this is where things get interesting. The GFS has got a 993 low in Iowa. This would give us some gusty winds, rain. Now, earliest glances do not show a lot of thunder with this. It does show some wind potential, maybe some small instability as we head into Tuesday night into that Wednesday time period. Again, Groundhog Day night. There could be some rain and thunderstorms. The low looks too far away to really worry about anything when it comes to severe weather. Now, the Canadian is a little different. It sees actually 2 different lows. It has one weak low that kind of passes through here with some rain showers for Groundhog Day, and then it develops a stronger southern low, which would be more of a snow storm scenario for us. But a couple days later, by February 4th. The Euro, though, which is one I'm going to lean more toward the most, has the low pressure, pretty deep low. Now, this is the last run. This was last night's run. It had the low over Cape Girardeau, basically, in Missouri. Here is today's run of the Euro, position of that low for Groundhog Day. Much deeper and close to us. Yes, that would put us in the zone for strong winds, potential for gusty winds within thunderstorms, and yes, severe weather would be certainly on the table for Groundhog Day. So at this point, we have a range of a southern low developing from the Canadian. We've got a strong low on the Euro, and we've got another strong low on the GFS, but found much more to the northwest into Iowa. That is the range we have for Groundhog Day next week. That is quite the range in spatial coverage here of potential for a low. So confidence very low, but there's a potential for at least some thunderstorms to Groundhog Day. Very warm air in the 60s if you go with the Euro idea. Behind that is when, though, we would see a plunge back into cold Arctic air. The indices starting to show that too here. The weeklies from the Euro showing how we plunge again, negative AO. As we head into time, the NAO is also going to go into the negative territory, and the PNA, it stays positive. That tells us that we are going to see a January thaw, which is what we're about to enter after we get past these little minor cold snaps and flurries. We begin the January thaw, but it's not going to be a long-lasting one. It's going to be a very short-term deal. Then we're going to see ourselves more than likely in a severe weather scenario or gusty thunderstorms. That is going to be a sign that we're going to repeat the pattern that we just went through from December and January. We get back to cold Arctic air. It's going to be boring for you weather lovers when it comes to snow. It's probably going to be cold Arctic air that has very little snow with it, but a lot of cold. Then we get into perhaps winter storm scenarios again, but that would be mid-February. So that's the timeline that it looks to me anyway, is that we see some cold snaps, little flurry action, we warm up, thunderstorms, back into the deep freeze, or at least cold weather for a while, and then by mid-February we get into a more interesting pattern, just like we just came out of as of recently with these winter storms. That is the way it's looking for now. And the reason why I think that pattern is going to repeat itself is that the latest numbers here came in for the ocean temperatures still very warm in Alaska and the West Coast. East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico still warmer than average as well. For the waters, the signs are still there that this pattern is going to keep going and repeating itself all the way through February and perhaps into at least March. So buckle up, but be patient because we've got to repeat ourselves from December to January all over again. That's how it looks today. We'll see you today beginning at 5.